Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, people have disagreed on everything from sports teams to political candidates for decades. But we seem to have lost our ability to be civil when others don't share our same point of view. Here with advice to help turn things around, we welcome the author of I Respectfully Disagree, How to Have Difficult Conversations in a Divided World, Justin Jones-Fosu. Good to have you with us, Justin.
I am super pumped to be here.
Oh, this is awesome. Your story is really kind of incredible, and I want to talk about the fact that you really credit your mom with making you who you are today. Tell me about her.
Yeah, so my mom used to take us to events that we disagreed with.
Yeah.
And I remember...
She looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting there like, why are we even here, Mom?
Yeah.
But I learned from her, in interviewing her, that she shared her story that she was one of the first black female air traffic controllers in the Air Force, and how she would be sometimes stationed in Japan, and there were sometimes 2 years that there were some soldiers who'd never left base. And she didn't want my brother and I to be like that, to never leave our home base and get to experience the beauty of people and cultures around us. And
so she would take you to things like the Oktoberfest, or you would have exchange students staying with you, right?
And even stuff that we disagreed with. And I'm like, why are we here? But what I didn't realize then, Helen, is that she was planting these seeds of how do I respect the humanity of the person, even if I don't respect their ideology.
We live right now in a very divided nation, very divided. I can speak personally. We have family members we don't speak to anymore. And has a lot to do with politics and the environment of that. That's what you're seeing too, right?
100%. I mean, the number one biggest difficulty that we're facing today is, are you a Ducks or Beavers fan? And so that's one of the big, no, I'm joking. But we are seeing this huge divide, and people don't know how to come together to have these types of conversations in meaningful ways, and that's been our approach of how to help people do that.
So how do you do that? I mean, you have a personal example. Your dad. You didn't see him for years, right? But you reconciled with him and even had your wedding, your recent wedding, at his home in Ghana.
So it took a great therapist, which
first of all, I just have to say, you have a beautiful family.
Oh, yeah, they're gorgeous.
Your wife, Tanya, is stunning.
She is very stunning.
Stunning.
Woo! Oh, okay, calm down.
Calm yourself, calm yourself.
Woo,
but you reconciled with a father. I think he abandoned you, right?
Yeah, so he wasn't there for me, and there's a myriad of different reasons with the conflict with he and my mom. But there were sometimes 2 or 3 years where I didn't see or hear from my dad. And I was really troubled by that, and finally got up enough courage in 2019 to go confront him, Will Smith style. Now, not the Chris Rock version, but the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air version. And in choosing to hear his story rather than to confront him, it led to me to forgive him, not because he asked for it, but because of my choice. And the same principle that I talk about with respectful disagreement are those same principles that I applied with my dad, of terms hearing his story, listening deeply, asking more questions, better understanding where he came from, even if I disagreed with the outcome. And those were the things that helped me.
There are times we'll see somebody on the street and we'll just think, I don't think I like that person, and I don't even need to talk to them.
But we don't know their story. And think about all of us, the things that people have judged us on or prejudged us, and they have no idea the journey that we've been on. And so that's one of the things, one of our principles is that, what if we led with curiosity rather than conclusions? And oftentimes when we think in those moments, we're like, I don't like them because of X. But we don't know X. And we think we know X, and that's part of our selection bias that we struggle with.
Well, people nowadays walk around with their affiliations on their shirt, on their hat. So we do kind of know where they're coming from.
But we don't know the full story. And that's the challenge, is that we've automatically created a whole narrative and story about what they think, what they believe, how they operate, all the things that come with that, and realizing that it's really more nuanced. You know, one of our pillars is seek the gray. And oftentimes we think in a very binary black and white thinking, rather than there's a lot of gray that exists. And until we engage with the person and understand and engage their story, we won't better understand their gray.
You talk in your book about Amy and Bill, don't know if it's their real names, but in a small town on polar opposites politically at every protest, and then at one point, Bill's wife has cancer, and Amy, even though she cannot stand anything he's done previously, offers to set up a fundraiser and help take care of his wife.
That's when we see the humanity. I mean, it comes down to our statement is that we can vehemently disagree with someone's ideology and yet still passionately pursue their humanity. And in that moment, Amy passionately pursued Bill's humanity, and realizing that even though we're on polar opposites ideologically, humanity or human-wise, we are the same. And there's an opportunity to engage with people in real-life humanity.
Give me another example of how to respectfully disagree when you think someone is morally not somebody you'd want to hang out with.
Yeah, so I'll give you two quick ones. One is deep listening. Part of respectful disagreement is just simply listening, and we often overcomplicate it. And so if I listen to the power of three instead of immediately jumping in as we talk about the double Dutch listening, but to listen deeply. But the last thing I'd say is that we can always fully acknowledge someone even when we don't fully agree. So that could look like, Helen, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. I've never heard it shared that way before. Or simply, this was tough for us to have a conversation about, but I appreciate you leaning in. Full acknowledgement does not mean full agreement, and that's one way we can respectfully disagree with someone.
Because you hear a lot of, well, that person's not educated.
Yeah, and that's a dehumanizing statement.
Right.
And we hate when that's done to us,
sure,
but it's so much easier for us to do that for others.
Sure.
Rather than to simply engage and hear the power of their story and deeply listen with the power of three.
When you talked about going back to your personal story of your dad, have you continued this relationship, or was it? Yes.
Yeah, so we continue the relationship. It's not the ideal relationship where we're camping across the world like I wished it was. But what I was able to do is to accept what is and what if. And what was the reality of where we are. And so I look at him as a mentor in my philanthropy work. And that's how we were able to build a school in Ghana and all these things that wouldn't have come
That's great.
had it not come from respectful disagreement.
Yeah. This is something you have to practice, isn't it?
Yes.
Respectful disagreement.
And this is my number one issue with a lot of the literature and articles out there. We did a year-long study, and we found that a majority of the articles, all of them missed one thing, and that was the preventative. Is that we often look at this as when you're in the moment, breathe 3 times, take a breath, take a step away. But how do we build up these muscles? And so one really practical, strategic way is what we call the Circles of Grace Challenge, where every 6 to 12 months, go to events, experiences, or engage with people that you either don't know a lot about or that you disagree with.
Well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That would be really tough. You know what's even tougher, I think, sometimes, is there is a divide between dog people and cat people.
Yes!
Yes, right? Like, look at your dog. How do you not love this dog?
Oh, I love it
How
so
do you
much.
not how is this dog not so much better than a cat?
Yeah. And I know you love both, so I know it's tough for you.
Yeah, I love both. Did your wife get you that outfit? Were you two were dressed in the same outfit?
Yes, it was my wife's idea, and I fully bought in because Chase and I were cuddlers together, and so yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. The book again is titled "I Respectfully Disagree: How to Have Difficult Conversations in a Divided World." Justin Jones-Fosu, thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away. Thank you.